So the priceless question is this: how are average people like us that play by the rules, going to school, listening to our parents, having to just settle in life, working day to day to make ends meet, but how are we now making above average income, getting massive cash flow, and having the time freedom to do what we want, when we want, and how we want? That's the real question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Maurice Trimble Jr., aka the Rich Lab Rat, and welcome to Clinical Study Secrets. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Monday. This is Maurice Trimble Jr., aka the Rich Lab Rat, and welcome. Welcome to the Clinical Study Secrets podcast. Once again, we have crossed the threshold, another milestone. We passed episode 10, now we're at episode 11. So thank you so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate that. Pretty soon we're going to make a lot of treadway with a lot of people knowing about this as I start pushing forth and getting everything, the finishing touches this week, calling all the studies, making sure all these trial facilities, I find out what's new, what's updated, what's accurate from the doctors, from the staff, everything from the just all the little nuances, putting the finishing touches on things, making sure everything is good with the study alerts, putting the finishing touches on that. The emails to get sent out automated, making sure that's good, right? And Stripe payments, everything. I want to make sure that once this gets rolled out, and yes, it's $50 per month. Yes, it is. I hear so many people say, Maurice, you charging $50? That's a lot. This should be free. And like I said, I've already covered it so many times that I've said to people that, anything that is free in life, you got to be wary of it, right? Everything comes at a cost. And there is a such thing, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, as a price versus cost. Price versus cost, right? We're going to get into that in another episode because that's a whole podcast in itself, right? But I titled this podcast, just so everybody can know, this podcast is titled Never Settle, Patience Wins. Never settle, patience wins. And what do I mean by that? Well, I guess got to let everybody know. I'm going to give you all my version of, what's been happening to me as well this past, all the travels in the last couple of weeks I've done has come to an end. Finally, I'm back home here. San Antonio is good. It feels good to be in your own bed, your own bamboo bed, right? Feels good. A lot of good rest, a lot of good regeneration, good time to reconcept, good time to, go worship so far as dealing with the Bible studies in terms of worship service, all this good stuff, right? Meditation. But for the most part, resting the body. And I wanted to cover this because, people have to understand that settling, like I said in my title, it has consequences. A lot of times it could be good, a lot of times bad. Most often that I know, bad. But I've never seen anything come bad from patience, right? Patience makes it all worthwhile. Now, don't get me wrong, that's subjective. Some people would say, yes, you could find bad in anything, especially if you look at it. Anything that you look at, you could find bad in something. I get it. You can find bad and good in everything. But for the purpose of this podcast, we're talking about in terms of clinical study trials. Patience will always overcome settling, okay? And some have waited a long time to find this information. They never knew it existed. It's kind of like when I first started, right? Now, before I kick this podcast off, because like I said, I do want to give some shout outs. I do want to give some thank yous, some gratitude, some gratuitousness. Thank you so much. Jazz is one of them. I mean, the overcomer herself helped a great deal in terms of just allowing this to even be, just to be going forth. So many people miss the opportunity to share and to give, not only give their flowers while people are alive, but give the shout outs to people and to do respect, give the actual, just the kudoses, the pat on the back, much more than that to individuals that have helped to make things come to fruition, to make things manifest. I say it all the time, over and over again. And anybody that's played sports growing up understands fully what I'm saying. We all heard the acronym before, right? I believe it's teamwork teamwork makes the dream work, right? And I mean, team, when you break it down, TEAM, together everybody achieves more, right? And it's very true. Together, there's so much that can be accomplished. But for the most part, what I'm saying is that people misguide information and misunderstand that anybody that's successful, woman, man, child, anybody in this earth, right, has undergone the process of having people behind the scenes to make it all worthwhile, to make it all happen. Nothing is by chance. Everything happens because of the individuals that we have on our corners. And you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? Individuals who might look, as not to say as so superior, maybe inferior to them, to most, that could be the strongest person in the actual team, and you never know it. So I just want to give thanks to so many people. I mean, there's so many, I can mention a name, but that she just came to mind in terms of helping, in terms of allowing the podcast to even be going forward, I should say, in terms of, we got so many things that's needed for these podcasts. I've come to find over my years of doing business and investing, and now getting back in it after, the death of my parents and things of this nature. I mean, when I first met Russell way back in the days, you start Russell Brunson with ClickFunnels and all this, you start learning what you need to know to put things out to the world. And it's a good thing, right? But anything in life, you're going to run into like roadblocks. You're going to run into brick walls. You're going to run into speed bumps. So you got to know how to circumnavigate these things, right? What is the old saying? If you can't go through the front door of something, go out the window, right? You always got to find a way to get accomplished what you want to set out to do. Nothing should stand in your way. Napoleon Hill comes to mind, for instance, one of my first mentors after the Lord Christ Jesus, of course. But Napoleon Hill, his birthday was Sunday. And this gentleman was so influential in my life, someone that I wish I had have met, but this is, you talk about so long ago, right, in times past. But his teachings, his disciplines, his doctrines, these things that went far beyond, no different than Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Earl Nightingale, many other individuals, right? Mr. Robert Kiyosaki, and many more. There's so many I can name. It's the list goes on. But these just come to my mind right now on this podcast as I'm sharing with you all. But you might say, well, Maurice, what is the point of this? I thought we were talking about studies. Well, we're getting to that. What I just want to make sure everybody understands is just giving the thank yous out there to Jazz. I appreciate it. The Overcomer, Miss Jazz, thank you so much. Always in the corner, and I'll always be yours to support when your endeavors go through. I also want to get the information out there to let people know that, with Napoleon Hill's birthday that was yesterday, it gave me a lot of light to shine to know that, wow, some people have put a lot of effort in things, and patience is what was needed. Now, in terms of the study settling, a lot of people, for instance, here's what I mean on just the micro level, or not the macro, or just the micro level. Just, if you look at it right from the surface, say like my instance, a study came, Dr. Vince, $7,300 study, 12 days, pretty easy, right? Nothing, it's easy in terms of you only dose for maybe 4 or 5 days. That's pretty easy. To us in the study world, the veterans, we know that's pretty easy. No outpatients, no phone calls, just straight 12 days in and you're out 12 grand. 7 grand, 7.3 grand. Well, it was something can be like that, could be lined up and it'd be a good thing, right? But sometimes that might not be for you. It might be something else around the corner that's better, but you can't see it because a lot of us, no matter how we want to look at this, right? We're limited in this life. We can't see past the decisions that we make. It kind of reminds me of that line in the Matrix, right? No one can see past the decisions that they make. You got to make the decision and you can see what the path is that lies ahead. Now, you could play chess if you want, and that's true. But there is still a limit to how far we can see ahead of what the moves and what we're going to do, right? A lot of these things, that's why faith comes in. But in terms of settling, when you have something that is a sure thing, a lot of people would look at little studies, maybe 2, 3, 4 grand, 5 grand, something small, right? For a week or so. And they'll look at the big thing, right? I just seen a couple of individuals tell me about this earlier with TrialMed, which was PPD formerly, in Austin, Texas. Oh man, look at this, Maurice. This right here, this is 20 grand. This is 15, this is 17,000. This is 12,000. But they're not looking at the underlying factor of that. Okay, how many outpatients are there? How many times you got to go back to that facility, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth? Come to find out, it was stretched out over maybe a year or 6 months. That's not worth it. It might be for someone that's new to this, but my job and what I'm doing is why I'm doing this. Part of my why is to help people to make the right decisions so that they'll be able to have a great ready, steady arsenal to know how to make the right decisions, to pick the right studies, to have a perfectly good experience, not a bad experience. Because if you get something that's not that great, and you have it doesn't go well, the drug's not that great, it doesn't, you're just side effects, or you're traveling back and forth, or you're wasting money. It seems like, yeah, you're getting money, but you got to wait to get the money. Well, that's because you didn't have a guide. You didn't maybe have a mentor, a coach, a good leader, right? You didn't have like a lab rat king like myself to show you a better way to where you can make your experience way better if you know just what to do. Right? And I can't wait to release a product I'm going to come with so far as in November before my birthday to really usher that out there. That's going to help a lot of people to know how to be a professional at this. It's really, really great. I can't wait on that one study away challenge. Can't wait. But anyway, so to wrap this up, because I don't want to make this too long, I do want it to be understood from everybody. Settling. This goes, a lot of this reason why I did these podcasts and why I wanted to do this business and all, because it was something that I had put in my mind to want to do a long time ago, just to give back, my way of giving back to this clinical study world that's given so much to me. One of the things I wanted to put out there is I see how it goes so parallel with life. These clinical study trials, and if you do this on a professional level, and if you really take it serious and do this, it's no different than life, how it parallels one another. For instance, never settle, always be patient. If a person would be patient instead of just picking something right away because they see the money is big, they probably have a better experience, and they probably turn around and after their study, they could see something else that's bigger that'd be more favorable to them, right? Instead of picking the first thing that they see and it doesn't work out that well. And now they have a black eye, like it, so to speak, a bad experience, right? Like that bully that gives someone a black eye back in the days, right? Stuff like that. Now they have a bad experience. They have a bad story. And when they have that bad story, now they're going to share that story over and over and over and over again. It's like the same scenario with network marketing thing. Once you spread it, you start it, it's like cancerous. And what happens with cancer when it starts to metastasize? It starts to grow, starts to spread. And everybody else, like one bad apple spoiled the bunch, like the old saying. So I'm doing my best to help people to get the right information from one source, a one-stop shop, so they don't have to go and hear what this person say, what that person say, what this person say. Because there's a lot of voices that's going on in the world, right? No different than what biblical fame talks about. There's a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing out there. There's a lot of snakes in the grass out there. So you got to know the traps and know what's the right way, because there is a right way to be able to navigate this right for your own life, for whatever your time of doing this, just a periodic, a short term. Some people do this as me, as a career. Some people, do this just because they just need to get the money that they need to take care of what they got to take care of. And they step away. In any rate, however you want to do it, just know that it's better to be patient. Wait it out. It could be some studies that you call, like for instance, back in the days, I used to call studies every hour, every other hour, like every 60 minutes or 90 minutes, right? To see if they have anything new. And I set alarms on my Apple phone, my iPhone. I set alarms. It was just that serious. I treated it like an employment. I treated it as if it was a job, but a high paying job at that. And I call. They might hear from me facilities that I called in Texas for sure. They all know my name, Mr. T, MRT, Maurice Ray Trimble. I'd call literally so much that they know my voice inflection. And obviously I have certain things I say. I'm a positive guy, so too blessed to be stressed, obsessed with success. I say it so much, too grateful to be hateful, right? That people know that it's me. But they say, as soon as I start speaking, oh no, Mr. Trimble, we have nothing here. Nothing yet. Call back, right? But the minute that there is something, I would be the first to know, right? Because I was patient. I was patient, patient, patient. And that's how you have to be. Now, I could have taken the first thing going. As soon as they got something new, I could have just settled. Oh, yeah, let me get that real quick because I see the money. But I didn't look at the drug. A lot of people don't look at the actual blood draws. They don't look at what it's doing. They don't look at how many outpatients. They don't look at how many times I got to come to the facility. Do they got to have a phone call? They don't look at the half-life. Like, how long does it take to get out your system? Or how long does it take before I can do this, before I can come back and do another one? Right? These things matter. You got to find out all these things on the phone calls and screenings and things of this nature to make sure it's right for you. And this is patience, my friend. And it's no different than in real life. In life itself, patience will win a lot of the times. Now, there's a such thing as being too patient, right? Being overly patient. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about just being the the regular baseline patient, right? It'll work in your favor. So, but never settle. It could be in life. It could be in relationships. Never settle. Think of a relationship, right? You find the one who you feel is the one. This is for me. This is my guy. This is my lady. It's my gal, right? Would you settle? Or would you be patient to find the right one? Because you got to think, this could be the one that could be for the lifetime. What was the movie called a long time ago? A Bronx Tale, if anybody has ever seen it, right? Good quote in that movie when he was the street dad, as I call him. I call him the street dad because the guy had two dads, kind of like Rich Dad Poor Dad, the book, right? The literary book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. This gentleman in the movie had like kind of two dads. He had a poor dad, a working dad. He had not so much of a rich dad, but he was like like a street, like a hustler, like a gangster, right? So he had his street smart, and his dad was telling him, book smart, wanted to teach him about those things, get a job, things of this nature. But anyway, his street gangster dad told him, here's how you know if someone's one of the real ones, right? He said the special ones, because you only get so many of them in your lifetime, the special ones. And he told him about the trick when he gave him his car to go take her on a date, how he told him how, you open that door for her, you let her in. I'm sorry, excuse me for my little Italian accent. You open the doors for her, in my New York accent, right? Open the doors for her, you let her in, right? She gets in, you go to the back way. Walk toward the back. You hear me? Walk towards the back. When you look through the window, if she doesn't open that doors for you, when you just open the door for her to let her in the car, if she doesn't reach over and open that door for you, you drop her right then and there. He said, what? Why? Why I drop her? You drop her and you drop her fast. Why? Because she's selfish. Because if you open the doors for her and she don't open the door for you, when you walk over to the front of the car to let you in the car, after you let her in the car, she's selfish. And you're going to have nothing but problems. That's a red flag. You hear me? Listen what I'm telling you. And that's hilarious, right? That part is very true. It's about just these things about settling. I mean, when I talk to someone about a relationship, they wouldn't settle. Right? So why settle when it comes to your money? Why settle when it comes to this endeavor of clinical studies where your money is on the line? Financial freedom is on the line. Because it's not just study money that gets you to financial freedom. I keep saying this to individuals, and I cannot wait to that next product that I'm going to share with everybody to help a lot of people, okay? Because that's not a membership. It's just a one-time thing that I'm going to be sharing with people to help them become a professional, to be a pro at this, an expert at this, right? A rich lab rat also, right? Right? But yeah, seriously, it is, you got to understand, it's what you do with this money that you invest that allows you to financial freedom. This is just a pathway, like one of the best gateways or pathways I've ever seen to where you could come from your 9 to 5, come from whatever walk of life, however bad your life was, whatever you were doing, do one study or two and change everything for yourself. Right? Because you could take that money and make good with that money to make better decisions, to invest and do it wisely, to make something better happen with it. Right? To make the money grow. So in that scenario, in that story, I like that because in a Bronx Tale, he wasn't settling. He saw her. She opened the door for him. She was one of the special ones. And you only have so many special ones you might in your lifetime, as he says. But I actually think it's kind of true. I actually think it is. Women, men, you'll come around 1, 2, 3, who knows, of special individuals that's the one for you. That relationship could span like my mom and dad had for 46 years before God closed their eyes ultimately and took them home. 46 years it could be. So the reality of it is, you never know. But when they are special, that waiting was worthwhile, wasn't it? But what if you settled? And that's what a lot of people do in this nowadays, in this new digital era, this age that we live in right now. In the age of AI, the information age, the digital age, the information age. Where information is running rampant so fast. Information is running to and fro so fast across the earth, right? Everybody wants it fast. Everybody wants it right now. It's so quick how things happen, how things manifest so quickly. Even in relationships. A lot of times people don't want to take it the way it used to be back in the days, how they want to wait it out. They want to see. They want to court. They want to, just be around, have see how the bonding period goes, see how the relationship, the vibes, the energy, see how it plays off each other. You don't see that much anymore, right? And a lot of it's due to, obviously we see it on whether it's social media, whether it's the internet, whether it's TV, whatever, and the networks, whatever it is, the propagandas, right? But the fact of the matter is, to get back on topic, never settle. Settling always will ultimately lead to the demise of whatever that situation is. It's not always good, right? And then you got to think about yourself, right? Aren't you valuable enough to have the best of the best in your life? Why would you want to settle? Think about that as you're listening to this in your ears, whether it's your headphones, your earbuds, right? Whether you're traveling or at home, to and fro across the earth. Think about that. Why would you want to settle? Shouldn't I deserve the best of the best? Why do I need to have what's subpar? Who says that I got to have that? Right? If your creator says that everything that you should want to have is the best in the world, of those that would believe that, then why not have that? Why not attain that? Don't settle for something when the best of the best could be right there, almost in front of your eyes. And the old saying goes, as I learned a long time ago in network marketing, I wish I could credit the gentleman that said this. I totally forgot his name. But the gentleman says, the eyes can only see what the eyes are trained to see. Ooh, that's deep, right? The eyes can only see what they're trained to see. Ain't that crazy? Think about this if you don't think that's true. You see a vehicle that you might want to buy, a new vehicle. It could be like my favorite, the Ford Shelby Mustang GT350R with the manual transmission that they don't even make anymore, right? Say a 2023 or 2024 GT Shelby Ford Mustang, the GT350R, right? If I seen that car, or say if you seen that car and it was your favorite car, think of what your favorite car is, your favorite vehicle, right? Going forward in life, you'll probably see that car 2, 3, 4, 5 different times, right? And that's the way it is because you have trained your eyes to see it. Man, I really want that. I really want that car. I really want that truck or that vehicle, right? And now, whatever it is that you really like, now it's like the universe starts showing that to you more and more and more. Ain't that amazing? But before your eyes was trained to see it, you never even thought about that. And it was always around you, but your eyes never even conceptualized with that. And that's how it goes. So, with that being said, just remember that. Never settle, ladies and gentlemen. Whether it's in life, whether it's in the study world, in which I teach all the individuals about, my students and many others to come, and people I'm helping, to train and to show them a better way with this. Never settle, right? Just because something looks good doesn't always mean it is. On the outside, looks can be deceiving. I myself am not that crazily big on looks because looks are good. Don't get me wrong. I love good looks. Who doesn't, right? But at the end of the day, I'm all about performance. I'm all about what's going on the inside that makes that outside run, right? What is going on? And this comes with age. A lot of this comes with maturity, with later in life, we come to see this. So I hope all that's helpful. I'm going to wrap this up. I wanted to keep it under 15 minutes. I'm so sorry I went to 20, but that's okay. Just some things I had on my mind I want to get out there and share over the weekend as we start this new week. Again, like I say, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we do these podcasts. Looking to get on the schedule, finding out, because before all these holiday time comes, I got other people that are going to get on the podcast to share their stories, to share their insights. I want to get them. I got them already booked. We're just working out the times. So I want to bring that to you all, ladies and gentlemen. So please continue to be patient. Please share this podcast. Friends, family, coworkers, students, classmates, anybody that you think will really need to know about, hey, these study information, this guy, this gentleman here is talking about this Lab Rat King, this Lab Rat, Rich Lab Rat. He's talking about these clinical studies. You ever heard of this? Share it with everybody, right? And these podcasts just share a lot of things that you need to know about it. At least so you can know before I launch it and roll it out, you'll know when I roll it out where the studies are. You'll know how these study alerts can get you in the first, second screenings, and then to be able to make your life way, way easier in terms of how to make the monetary gain, the financial skyrocketing of money's going in your bank account. And then you take that money and you invest. Simple as that. And I'll have some tips, and it's going to be in the membership, sharing that with people too about investing. But other than that, I hope y'all stay too blessed to be stressed, obsessed with success, always too grateful to be hateful. And remember what we always say here: smile, say cheese, because I'm going to help you get that cheese. Have a good Monday, everybody. You want the secrets to clinical study trials? Then go get my free Clinical Study Secrets guide at clinicalstudysecrets.com. Inside this guide, you'll see me crush the 12 false beliefs that hold people back in life. But you'll also discover how to become a rich lab rat so you too can escape the rat race.